Hello, everyone. Happy Star Wars Day, and welcome to our Infusing AI and Power BI webinar. Next slide, please. So today our presenter will be Sai. He'll be walking through, just first briefly who we are, Chris Services Group, and then Power BI ecosystem and architecture. We'll be talking about, the types of BI, descriptive, diagnostic, predictive, and prescriptive, as well as presenting some, use cases on, how this general topic can be applied to your organization. Next. For those of you who may be new here and don't know who we are Chris Services Group. We pride ourselves on being a trusted digital transformation partner, partnering with our customers in their modern workplace, Microsoft 365 and application modernization journey. We are a Microsoft Gold partner with several gold competencies as well as silver competencies. We specialize in cloud migrations, application modernization, and enabling the modern workplace. Next. This slide is just a brief overview of kind of our core competencies as a consultancy. Like I said, migrations, upgrades, app modernization, etc. If it's here, we can do it. If any of that may apply to you, please don't hesitate to reach out after the webinar and we can talk through that. Next. Again, just the Microsoft 365 periodic table, all within our wheelhouse. Next. And with that, I'm going to hand this over to Sai, who will be walking us through today's presentation. Take it away, Sai. You are on mute, sir.
Hello, everyone. Can you hear me now?
I got you loud and clear.
Okay. So my name is Sai. I'm working in the Power Platform areas in Krish, actually, as Chris has introduced me. So today we are going to look at how we can use AI aspects or infuse AI aspects into Power BI. So let us just walk through, quickly get into the aspects of Power BI ecosystem. So at the heart of the Power BI ecosystem, we have what is called the cloud-based service, which is called Power BI service. So many features are available for free in this Power BI service, but some of them are available only for subscription. Then this service actually combines a variety of data sources coming from the cloud or from on-premises databases or files. These data sources are then used to create what are called as data models. That will help enhance the data set by defining relationships between the underlying data models and data entities. Data also can be refined easily using what is called as an M language. Then we have reports and dashboards that will provide information at a glance from the data models or build interactive reports with interrelated visualizations to help understand or explain the data more effectively. Then we have what is called as the natural language queries and quick insights. So this is a section that we will be delving deeper into in today's webinar. So this feature will allow users to ask questions just by typing in a question, like how we will speak naturally with other people. No special query languages are required here in this case. So we can also get quick insights into the data if you don't have any idea where to start. And finally, we have mobile applications to read or to consume the data or to consume the reports or dashboards that are developed by the analysts. So these applications are available on iOS or Android. So this is quickly the complete ecosystem of Power BI. So now let's look at the architecture of Power BI, how different components work together to achieve this functionality. So these are the high-level architecture looks like in given a Power BI system. So at the heart of it, as we said earlier, we have the Power BI service here. Then we have all the reports that are created in Power BI Desktop, what is called as Power BI Desktop, using which we will be publishing the reports or dashboards into Power BI service. Then we also have the Power BI service, which will connect to all the which will connect to the data, the data which are residing on-prem. So these are the data. This is the data that will be residing on-prem, and Power BI service can connect to them also directly via what is called as a Power BI gateway, right? Then there is other option of Power BI directly connecting to the databases or the sources of data directly residing on the cloud. So that is here. So basically, we have different ways in which data can be connected to Power BI service. So one way is to publish the data from what is called as the Power BI desktop. Then it can also connect to the databases residing on-prem directly via Power BI gateways, or it can directly connect to the databases on cloud directly. Using different connectors available. So finally, these reports or dashboards which were generated using the desktop or the service will be accessed using mobile apps or the Power BI service directly by logging to the service directly by end users. Now let's look at let's actually look at what kind of what are the end users needs when it comes to Power BI. So what is that exactly that the end user is looking at to carry out various activities in this ecosystem? So Power BI, as we have seen, we have mentioned Power BI has over 415 data connectors to connect and access data from different data sources, whether it is on-prem or it can be databases, data sources on the cloud. Then it also has the capabilities to clean the data and access the data from a variety of data. To clean the data by providing various data wrangling techniques. So there is a language called M, which is used to clean the data and then combine it. It also has the capability using the same M language to combine the data coming from various data sources and create what is called as data mashups. Then we have the option of exploring the data by using what is called as DAX. So there are several functions available in DAX, which will help the analyst to explore the data, do the exploratory analysis. Then the report designers will have the option to generate, visualize the data by using various visuals that are supported by Power BI or supplied by Power BI. Finally, these reports are then shared across with the rest of the organization by using the Power BI service. So these are the different aspects of what an end user will look at while using Power BI components. Now let us go into the main aspect of this webinar, which is basically the AI aspect. How we can bring in AI elements into Power BI ecosystem. So as you can see here, we have different types of business analytics. So this is a visual that I have picked up from Gartner. So Gartner has classified BI into 4 different categories. As you can see, the first one is called descriptive analysis, which is basically looking into the rearview mirror, looking at what had happened already. For example, to give an example here, we can think about a question like what was my sales last year and the year before. So that could be one question for the descriptive analysis. So basically, it's a rearview mirror reporting that really happened in the past. Then the next one is diagnostic analysis, and this will answer questions like why it happened. So here typically the questions will be like, why did my sales drop, or why I have a product on back order, or why did my customers churn? So basically we'll answer why kind of questions in the case of diagnostic analysis. Here also we are still looking at the historical data, but the difference here is that we are asking questions at a little deeper level. We're going into a little bit more in depth when it comes to diagnostic analysis. Then the third type of analysis is called predictive analysis, where we start to look forward from the rear view. So our direction has changed from rear view to forward. So here in this case, we ask questions like what will happen, So for example, some questions can be like, what will be my sales prediction for the next year? Or which customers will churn in future? So these are the kind of questions that we'll be asking in the case of predictive analytics. And then when we go to the next level, that is the prescriptive analytics, where we answer questions like, how can we make it happen? So here one example could be, which of my customers will churn and what I can do to take some corrective actions. So that these are the kind of questions we will be asking here at this level, which is prescriptive analysis. As you can see, the complexity is increasing as we go forward from descriptive analysis to prescriptive analysis. So we'll be in this webinar. What we will be doing is we will be looking at what Power BI offers to address the descriptive analysis kind of questions, and similarly diagnostics and predictive and prescriptive analysis. So that will be the main topic for our webinar today. We'll also be looking at some demos. So we are going into the descriptive analysis part of the webinar. So as you can see, yeah. So let's see how we can apply descriptive analytics techniques to in Power BI to answer what happened kind of questions. So to give an overview, actually, I mean. This is actually very easy to achieve in Power BI because we are trying to answer what happened. So we already have data with us. So we can think about having different visuals or different reports to answer a given set of questions. Like say, for example, which of my customers churned in the last year. So we can have a report that can address this question directly. But one variation from this could be which of my customers from Northeast churned. So basically, we're looking at different directions based on different geographies, and then trying to address this which customers churned across different geographies. So in this case, what we can do is we can have a report wherein we can have one visual that is catering to, that is catering to one particular state, and then state-wise customer churn kind of reports. We can also look at having some slicers or filters that will filter out the data based on the geographies. So that is another possibility. But in these approaches, actually, the problem is we cannot anticipate all the questions that the user the end user can ask, because otherwise if you try to include everything in the report will get quite complicated. So what we are here trying to look at here is basically some kind of a technique or some kind of a way where we can ask queries with the BI tool. So here the BI tool is nothing but Power BI that can be used to answer questions in a natural way, and the tool should be able to answer that. So that is exactly what we are looking at. I mean that visual is called Q&A visual in Power BI. So this is how the visual looks like. So here is where we are asking the question to with the BI tool here, and then the BI tool is, in this case, Power BI is actually giving out the data along with it, with an appropriate visual. So the Power BI tool is intelligent enough to choose a particular visual based on the question we ask. Right. So the best way to answer these kind of questions is using the Q&A feature in Power BI, which will let us explore the data in our own words using natural language. So we will see how it works actually shortly. So the designers will be able to use it to create visuals quickly, so they don't have to worry about what visual should I use to answer this kind of a question. So this will be addressed by the visual itself, the Q&A visual itself. Then people who are like end users can actually focus on asking the questions in their natural language, so they also don't have to worry about the visual aspects of the report. So let's quickly get into a demo. So for the purpose of the demo, I have what is called, I mean, I have used a sample data set that is supplied by Microsoft. It is called sales and marketing sample data set. So basically in this data set, what we are doing, I mean, what is reported is basically, I mean, it's a report of a fictitious marketing manufacturing company called Van Asdel. And this was prepared by the CMO of this fictitious company to keep an eye on the industry and the company's market share, product volume, sales, and sentiment. So let me just take you through the data set. So I hope you can all see my Power BI report or visualization here. So as you can see, so these are some of the, I mean, these are some of the reports that are already generated. So this is talking about a manufacturer called Van Asdel and how much is his total category volume and what is his percentage of market share. So as you can see, he is I mean, Van Asdel, this fictitious manufacturer is a leader, is a market leader. And then he also has some competitors here. So as you can see, there are other manufacturers also. And then we can see that the output, I mean, the output of Van Asdel had fallen sharply in the month of June, but then it picked up again. But we are not sure why it had fallen down. And then this is the geography-wise data of the number of units, percentage units of the market share, and things like that. So basically, this is the data set that we'll use to demonstrate the Q&A visual. So I have created a new page, or we can create a new page. Actually, I will create another page here. So this is my Q&A visual, which I'll drag and drop into this report, page. So as you can see, the moment I drag this visual into the canvas, so I mean, Power BI is intelligent enough to analyze this data set. I mean, the kind of columns that this data set is having, and then it is trying to prompt me with this kind of questions. So I can either choose these standard questions that are given to me by Power BI. So if I try to select this one of the questions, then Power BI will actually use an appropriate visual, like say, because we are using geostates, so it picked up a map visual for me, right? So that is how Power BI is trying to pick up the appropriate visuals based on the question. So for example, if I use this question, then also it is loading up a map for me and showing me the appropriate data. So this is one way of, and we can have more questions like this. So what is the sales dollars by person? So if I select this question, so it is not showing map data, as you can see, but it is showing a bar chart. So this is one way of using Q&A visual by using the correct, I mean, by using the suggested questions by Power BI. Now the other method is to actually, as I said, we can use natural language to answer our queries. So we can say, I can just say total units. So even as you type here, actually it is trying to suggest something. So it is very it is intelligent that way. So when I say total units, it is giving the total number of units that were shipped or that were sold. Then I can also say total units by segment, by product segment. So as you can see, based on the product segment, when I just type that, it is actually giving a bar chart based on the segments of the product. Then I can also filter out the data based on a given manufacturer. Like say, I want to just see the data for my fictitious manufacturer called Van Asdel. So yeah, if I do that for by using the for keyword, then it is again filtering out the data for me, which is specific for this particular manufacturer. So as you can see, it is trying to understand natural language and then throwing out the visuals that we ask for. I mean, based on I mean, whichever is appropriate for this particular question. So I can also say total sum of revenue. So because we can see there are some fields that are catering to revenue, right? So sum of revenue. So I can just ask for that. So total sum of revenue. So it is telling me 7.02 billion is the total sum of revenue for all segments and for all manufacturers. Then now I can again slice it for a specific manufacturer called Van Asdel. which will again give the figure for this particular manufacturer. Then I can also get a timeline, time-wise chart. So it is plotting the output sum of revenue for this particular manufacturer based on a particular time, right? And then if I don't like this line chart, then I can also specify the chart that I want. So if I just say column as a column chart, so it will change its course. So it's intelligent enough to understand our queries in, I would not say it's a completely natural language, but it's, very close to what we talk, or day-to-day use. So the one thing that you can see here is, this particular keyword is highlighted in red. That's because there is some ambiguity here for Power BI, whether it is a product manufacturer or it's a manufacturer name. So in this case, it's a manufacturer name. So the moment I select that, then it's resolved for Power BI. So suppose actually if I just say show sales facts by XYZ. So I'm just asking it to tell me the sales facts by ABC, but so here what it's saying is complaining about ABC. So it is not understanding what do we mean by ABC. So in this case, we have the option to train the tool. So then this is how we train it actually. So I have to tell it based on what is ABC. So in this case, I will just try to use the manufacturer again for ABC. So it's like I'm just assigning ABC to a manufacturer, and then now it will understand, and it will give the chart for me based on the manufacturer. So you can see that. So this is how we can also train the Q&A visual. To make it to make it more user friendly, or the domain friendly for the end users. So any questions so far, or we can proceed? Probably we can have the questionnaire at the end of the session. So for want of time, I would like to proceed with the next analytics that we have, which is, I'll go back to my presentation. So all this demo. So then now we are jumping into the second analytics, that is the diagnostic analytics. So here, so as we discussed earlier, we are looking at questions like, why did it happen? So this is we are getting into slightly a more difficult terrain. So what happened was very easy to answer for us using the Q&A visual. So now we are looking at the why kind of questions. And here actually we can say that there could be many different why questions. These questions are generally deeper, and then we require more time and investigation to answer these kind of questions. So generally in the past, before the advent of Power BI or equivalent tools, this is how why questions are answered actually. So historically, to answer these kind of questions, we have statistical analysis methods. Statisticians used to use tools like SAS or SAS. And then right now they're using tools like R and Python. They're not tools actually, they're languages. So they use these kind of techniques to answer the why kind of questions. So basically it definitely needs a statistical background and needs special skills to answer these why kind of questions. But with our Power BI as our business intelligence tool, why questions can be answered by using some special visuals, which we will be looking at in the due course. Yeah, that's here actually. So we have one visual called key influencers, which will answer some of the why kind of questions. So basically, key influencers visual will help us understand the factors that drive a metric. Okay, whichever metric we are interested in. And it will analyze the data, it will rank the factors that matter and then display them as a key influencer. So that is the purpose of key influencer. For example, suppose you want to figure out what influences employees turnover, which is also known as churn. So one factor might be employment contract length, or another factor can be commute time. So these are the factors that it will analyze given a metric, and then it will analyze the data, and then it will also rank them. It will list them in the order of how it is affecting this particular metric that we have selected, right? So these are the visual looks like. So I mean, there are two panes here. One is the left pane and the other one is the right pane. We will see in the demo actually how it actually works. So for this demo also we are using a sample dataset provided by Microsoft. So this dataset is called customer feedback dataset. So we don't have any report visuals to show in this dataset, but this is how the data model looks like. So basically there is a customer feedback data set that is capturing the rating from various customers. So as you can see, the rating is the main parameter here. So it is captured from various customers. So now the task in front of us for this particular exercise, or for demonstrating this particular visual, is to figure out what factors lead customers to give negative reviews, okay, about the cloud service. So basically this rating is being captured for a company which is offering a cloud service, and the data is captured but for considering different parameters like the geography, the role, the subscription type, and stuff like that. So the task in front of us is to analyze, or to figure out what factors lead customers to leave negative reviews. So that is a factor, and that is a task that is in front of us. So if we proceed with the demo. Sorry. So this is done actually. So this is the customer feedback data set that we just saw. So as you can see, this is the same thing that we just saw. So the data model is here. What we just saw. This is the data model. And yeah, I just pulled in this visual, or we can just pull it again to see. So this is the key influencers. I'm not seeing it here. Yeah. So in this key influencers visual, actually you have to, I mean, as I said, we have to analyze a given metric. So in this case, we will choose rating as our metric for analysis, and then we try to explain this uh, using different other metrics, like say country, region, role, subscription type. So let me just drag those things: country, region. Country, region, role, subscription type. Yeah. So as you can see, I mean, I have used three different parameters actually to be used to be analyzed. I mean, and I want to see how these parameters are affecting this particular metric, that is rating, right? So now my task is to figure out, I mean, which is driving the low rating. So I'll select that low rating. So here Power BI is intelligent enough, because we are trying to analyze this rating parameter. It knows that it can take only two values, high and low. So that's what I'm selecting here. So my task is my requirement is set here. So now it is saying that, I mean, this is how the Power BI is presenting me with the information here. So it is answering the why kind of questions here. So here what it's saying is, in this same order of I mean, importance or ranking, it is saying that, I mean, the highest yeah. So role as 2 is influencing the low rating to the maximum extent. Right. So as you can see, if role is 2, for example, I want to look at and I want to show you what all parameters are offered by role here. So as you can see, role is 2 means it's a consumer. It's a consumer. So if the role is a consumer, then there is 2.57 times more likely to be low. The rating is 2.57 times more likely to be low compared to all other values of role. So role being the consumer is is driving the low rating to the maximum extent. So that is what it's saying. And here if you look at, if I select this particular metric or this particular influencer, I can see some updates here. So what here it's saying is, uh, so here it's saying 15% of consumers are giving a low score. So we can see that almost 15% of consumers are giving a low score. Role 2 basically is nothing but consumer. And on an average, irrespective of the roles, around 6% of the people are giving low score all the time. So role is one of the major parameters that is driving the low rating. So that is what I can understand from this. So then this is the first single factor that is influencing the low rating. Now, if I look at the second factor that is influencing the low rating, that is nothing but the uh, themes. Subscription time is sorry. So it is nothing but subscription time. So in this case, what is happening is, when the subscription type is premier, then there is 1.3 times more likely that it will get a low rating. Similarly, this is the second most important factor that is driving the low rating. So that's what this metric is telling. And here, if you look at it, around 13% of the people who are whose subscription type is premier are giving a low rating. So that's what this metric is telling me. So it's clear. We can see that clearly. This visual key influences visual is trying to answer why kind of questions by going in depth. So to answer these kind of questions in the other way, without having these kind of visuals, it will not be so easy. But this particular visual is making our job easy, right? So that is all about key influences visual. So let us go to our next visual, which is called a decomposition tree visual, right? So this is also part of diagnostic analytics, which is trying to address or which is trying to answer questions of why it happened. So what is the purpose of a decomposition tree visual? So it is actually another visual in Power BI that will let one visualize data across multiple dimensions. So as you can see here, there are different dimensions of the data, right? And it will allow us to enable drilling down. It will allow us to enable drilling the data into different dimensions in any order. So this order of these dimensions can also be changed. So we can do root cause analysis very easily using this visual, right? So it is actually an ideal visual for doing some root cause analysis. So that is what the documentation says. So let's look at the demo. So in this case, we are using another example dataset provided by Microsoft, which is called, which is about a supply chain scenario. So in this case, actually, we have a dataset that is analyzing the percentage of products a company has on back order, like say out of stock. So we are trying to here this is a supply chain scenario. So we are trying to analyze what kind of back orders we have based on different types, like based on categories or based on segments and stuff. So let's look at the dataset, actual dataset here. Yeah. So as you can see here, this standard report, what we got from Microsoft is also using key influencers here. So here it is trying to analyze the product, and then these parameters. We are trying to explain the product metric using these parameters here. Yeah. So, but our focus now is to look at the decomposition visual, which is this one, right? So probably we can start creating creating the decomposition tree visual from fresh. So this is the visual that we are talking about. And here what we are trying to do is we are trying to analyze the backorder percentage, right? So that is our prime factor of importance. We are trying to analyze this parameter. So it's not percentage on backorder, but and then we're trying to explain it. I mean, we can pick up any of the parameters and then we can try to explain that using this tool. So in this case, I'll try to pick up product type. And then I'll also try to pick up distribution center. So the moment I add some parameters to be explained by, I can see this plus symbol here. So when I click on this plus symbol, I can see the parameters that I've added here. So I can use whichever order to explain actually. Suppose I want to explain this percentage of back order by the product type. If I click that, then now it's telling me that so the total average back order percentage is 5%. Out of this, out of this 5%, 6% are from patient monitoring product type, and so on. So that's the high level gist I'm getting from this first dimension. Now I can go ahead and add the second dimension to this, which is nothing but the distribution center. So if I add the second dimension, which is distribution center, now it's telling me that around 9% the percentage is on back order from distribution center D, which is specific to patient monitoring product type, right? So this kind of root cause analysis is very easy to be. We can do it very easily using this kind of using this decomposition tree visual, right? And the beauty of this is, we can also do. If we mix it with other visuals, like say this is the same visual that we have created just now. So here actually we have another visual that is plotting the back order percentage with time. So we can also do cross filtering and highlighting. Like say I clicked on December here, and then I can see that there in the month of December there is a total of 4.2% of back order, and the product type is patient monitoring. So this is possible by combining with different other visuals in the same report. And if I select the leaf node here, then it will also do the other what do I say, cross highlighting the other visuals. Like say now it's telling me if for this particular cardiovascular product type from distribution center A, for forecast bias, which is accurate between 5% to -5%, there are pending backlogs in the months of June and May and June. So that's what it's saying. So it's so much easy to analyze or to get to the root cause, to perform the root cause analysis using this visualization. So it is answering so many questions related to why, right? Which is basically our purpose in the diagnostic analysis. So yeah. So next, so let us proceed to the next visual, or the next kind of analytics, which is predictive and prescriptive analysis. Yeah. So as you can see, this is the most complicated analytics that that is there in the map. So with these two, we see that the difficulty level is going up and higher here. So for performing this kind of analytics, we need to employ both BI solutions as well as AI solutions, which is nothing but building some machine learning models. So the reason for this is actually to get the maximum benefit of the for the end users, like say we can answer questions like of my customers, which is we spoke about this in prescriptive analytics. So of my customers that will churn next month, which should I target with a marketing campaign? So to answer these kind of questions, we need to combine both AI and BI solutions. So from the perspective of AI, we need to look at building some machine learning models, and we'll see how we can do that in the next slide. Yeah, so this slide is explaining. I mean, I will not go into much depth here, but I'll just throw some light at a very high level. So typically, this is how a machine learning or a machine ML model is built. It's a complicated process, as you can see, and basically what we do is actually we start with the historical data. So let me just get a pointer. So we start with what is called as historical data here. And then we do we do some feature selections, what is called as feature selections in the data set. Like like what we have seen, some of the parameters we select, and then these parameters, what we select will be the main inputs to the ML model that we're going to build. Then the next step would be to break this historical data set into two sets, like one is the training set and the other one is the test set, right? And then the next step would be to actually decide the algorithm. So why I'm calling this as automated ML is, I mean, Power BI allows us to, Power BI, it will help you to decide the algorithm based on the data set that you have supplied to it actually. So that's why it's called automated ML. So we don't really need to do everything on our own. Power BI helps us to build a model in certain way. I mean, some of the aspects of building an ML model is taken care of by Power BI. So the word automated ML. Then once we select the algorithm, then we feed this training set into the trained model. And then this is an iterative process. So the more number of iterations we do, the better will be the model that we get. So once we reach some kind of optimized model, some state of maturity in the model, then we use the other set that we have, which is the test set, and then we evaluate the model and study its performance actually. Otherwise, again, the number of iterations, will have to be increased to improve the to improve the accuracy of the model. So this is how basically an ML model is built, and then it is trained for doing predictions. So for in this example, to demonstrate this one, actually we have another data set called online shoppers intention. So probably I'll just show you the actual data set here. So this is the data set that I picked it up from Microsoft website again. So here, as you can see, this is again a set of data that is collected actually over a period of time. As you can see, these are all different all these are different parameters that were collected, and finally this revenue parameter, this revenue column is indicating whether a sale happened or not. Like say, this field will have only two values, as you can see, whether false or true. And if this value is true, that means there is an interesting, the customer is interested to buy some product here in this case. And if it is false, then there is no interest from the customer. So that's what we're trying to predict this one. So the purpose of our model is to predict this value, whether there will be a purchase or whether there will be a positive outcome or not is the objective of our model. So this is the data set that we are trying to use here. So as we can see, the data set contains a set of attributes about these sessions and which are used for training the model. So the same data set is used for training the model. I've already built the model earlier and I've trained it using the same data set. So the way in which I have built the model is like this actually. So the first step is for creating the ML model is to identify the historical data, which I've just shown you, and then identifying the column that needs to be predicted. So in this case, the column is revenue. So as you can see, that is the revenue here. Then the next step is to select the model itself. That is the algorithm, what we discussed earlier in the previous slide. We need to decide which algorithm we'll use for building this model. So as I said, Power BI had suggested me to actually use what is called as a binary prediction or binary or prediction model, because by this time actually it already went through the data set, and then it also went through the outcome field that I was looking at, and then understood that we need to just it will have only two values, true or false. So that's why it suggested me a binary prediction algorithm. So that's why we have chosen this particular algorithm, which was suggested by Power BI. Then the next step is to select the parameters which will be inputs to this model. So in this case, I have selected few of the parameters like here, what you can see here. So that is the next step, what we do. And finally, the model is started for training. I mean, we'll start the training for this model based on the input data set what we have just seen. So Power BI itself will take care of bifurcating this data set into training and the test data set. And the training data set is fed to the model, and then iteratively it is trained. I can show you that aspect here. So as you can see, this is the model that I have built, and then it was trained already using the training data set. Right. So this is the initial table that was built. That was fed into Power BI. So these are the same set of columns that we have seen in the input data set. So you can see these are the same columns that are available here. So these are the same columns. So once I have built the model, this model, I have trained it, and then I've applied this model to this data set. So the result of that application has produced this table, which is nothing but the same name, but with a suffix called prediction. So in this step, what happens is the Power BI engine is actually feeding the test data set into this model, and then it predicted the value for this. What is that? Revenue column. So the predictions are done using the test data set. So as we can see here, so it should have additional columns, right? So these are the additional columns that it had created. You can see these are the 4 additional columns that are created after the model is applied to the data set. And I'm interested in this particular column, which is nothing but the prediction coming out of the ML model that we have built. Right. So what I did was I have actually created another report. Yeah. So I have directly connected to my to this data flow that I have created, or that was created by the ML model here, to this prediction data set that was created by the ML model. And then these are the fields that I can see, and here you can see that the prediction outcome, whether it is false or true. So here you can see 2 columns. One is the column that is actually present in the training in the test data set, and this is the outcome from the ML model. So we can actually figure out if it is most accurate or not. So here actually, I mean, most of them are accurate, but in this case, here it was actually false, but the model has predicted as true. So there will be some room for error, but as you can see, mostly it predicted the values correctly. Right. So once I have this raw data, then I can build reports using this data, and then in future actually, once the model is optimized or trained to some extent, then I can use this particular model, ML model, to predict the outcomes and then provide them as part of the report. Right. So that is about predictive and prescriptive analytics that Power BI is offering us. So I mean that concludes my webinar. So any questions that I can address?
Yes, we have some questions in the chat. The first one being, can you run custom Python NLP script to source data and pre-process the data before Power BI analysis?
Can you run custom Python analysis so data before Power BI analysis? Yes, yes. Yeah, as you can see, Power BI also has visuals. I mean, to run Power script, R scripts, and Python scripts. Yeah, we can do that. Yeah, and the next question was, I mean, can I build my own visuals with the ML models in Power BI to analyze and train? So that is what we just saw, right? So I have created my own model with the algorithm suggested by Power BI to train the data, to analyze and train. Yeah, that is possible.
If anyone has any other questions, you do have access to your mics now, so feel free to jump in.
The next question I'm saying is, I mean, is there any additional doc available in MS site regarding the demo shown? Yes, I mean, this demo actually, yeah, is picked up from Microsoft website only. Probably I can share that link with you. I have conglomerated so many links from the Microsoft website and created this webinar. I can share those links. Yeah. Another question that I'm seeing here is, how can I check the accuracy of the prediction done by the ML model in Power BI? So yeah, I didn't, I mean, get into those kind of details actually, but yeah, I can just show you quickly. So if you can look at the prediction report for this model that was built, so it will tell you, it will give you all these details. So as you can see, I mean, the model performance is confirming up to 94%, and the precision, I mean, as we can also, the precision is 89.89%. So I showed you in the day in the outcome. Actually, there are some differences between the actual value for the revenue field and the predicted value. So that's why the prediction is not 100% accurate. So it's at 99%. And then we can also fine tune these parameters, like, I mean, probability thresholds to improve the precision, like this. And if it gets updated, yeah. So yeah, probably I don't know if it is a chance. So I just try to increase the probability threshold to 0.8, and then the precision it's saying is 100%. Yeah. The next question I'm seeing here is, we have a group who build ML models for different projects, and I'd like to utilize them as visuals that can be added in PBI just like other visuals. Is there any doc of the book? I mean, okay. So you're saying that, I mean, there are ML models already existing, and then you would like to use them as visuals. I think, yeah, I think it's possible. I'll have to check that. I mean, what I did here was actually, as I showed you, I connected to the output of the ML model directly, and then I wanted to build my own visual. I mean, I can build my own visual, but yeah, I think, I mean, I'm not sure how we can encapsulate this ML model itself as a visual and then get it into Power BI. Probably I need to check that. I'll check that and I can get back to you. Any more questions? I'm seeing another question. Can this model result be self-updated as data changes? Yeah. So when the data is changing, actually, when the data changes, what we have to do is, I mean, we have to go here and then apply or refresh the data, and then the model the data will be applied to the model, and then again the results will be updated. So there is a process to refresh the data. So in this case, as you see, I'm using what is called as a Power BI data flow. So it is available to people across the organization, and there are ways to refresh the data and apply the model uh, to 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 mm, to do the predictions. Yeah, that is possible. Yeah, I don't know of any books specifically for this topic, I think, but I think Microsoft documentation is good enough for us to start building basic models using automated ML offered by Power BI. Sure, I think the link will be shared. The link to this webinar will be shared. Chris, right? I think you will share that
Yep.
link, right?
Yep, we
I
will
think
send everything
he's,
out.
Istiak, if you could confirm this, I think he's referring to just Microsoft documentation.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I'll have to. Yeah, sure. I'll have to.
Istiak, what we can do is include, we can include that as an additional slide at the end of the presentation that I'm
Yeah.
going to we're going to send out to all the attendees later today. So that should give you the information you need. I'd say, I guess, if you need further help, just feel free to respond to the email and we can talk through it.
Cool.
Yeah.
Yes, we do. The question is, do you organize these kinds of webinars often? I enjoyed it, learned a lot. Thanks. Well, we appreciate that. Yes, we host a webinar approximately every 5 weeks. They tend to rotate between a more Microsoft 365 focused topic and then an Azure focused topic. But that's not necessarily set in stone. The best way to keep an eye on that is just via our LinkedIn page, Chris Services Group. That is where we'll be posting these kind of events and links as soon as we're ready to announce them. So you want to take that question?
Can I also? Yeah, thanks for that compliment. Yeah, thanks for that. I'm really happy that you have learned something today. So the next question is, can I also build a custom map picture of a blueprint as an example and highlight according to the data and visuals? I think, as per my understanding, I'm not really quite sure, but with regards to the map visuals, I think they are only related to geography. Are you talking about building something, which is indoor or something? I'm not sure. I'll have to check this actually. I'm not sure.
Can
Yeah,
you hear me?
thanks.
Yes.
Can you hear me?
Yes.
This is Ishtiaq. What I was
Yeah.
talking about is that, I would like to build a custom picture. It could be a workflow diagram, or it could be, as an example, blueprint of a floor, as an example,
Yeah.
where
So like that.
different section would be highlighted according to the data analysis done in the Power BI, because we see similar example with the maps, like a Google map or something like that, it highlights.
Right.
But instead of Google map, I would like to have my own map so I can present. I saw some of this example with Visio, where they show the departmental store with racks and it
Right.
highlights according to the inventory.
Mhm.
But it's a similar kind of concept, but have my own graph
Yeah.
picture
Right.
that I can highlight different
I'm
sections.
sure. I'm sure there should be a way, because I know for sure that we can create our own visuals in Power BI. But yeah, creating something like a map and then plotting on top of it using our
Correct.
custom set is what I'm not really sure about, but I can check and let you know. I'm not
Okay,
really
cool.
sure. I've not come across that. Yeah.
Okay, thank you.
Well, If there are no more questions, we're at time here. I'd just like to take a moment to thank Sai for presenting. I'd like to take a moment to thank all of you for attending. We will be hosting